Namaskaram. We are continuing with Nalacharitam. There, Nala as Bahuka was brought to Damayanti's father's palace, and Damayanti tried various tests on Nala, mainly sending her maid Keshini, asking her to find this, that, whether Nala had though he looked very different, whether he was indeed Nala. And probably the third test, where she came back with food prepared by Nala. And Keshini also reported that Nala could enter any door, even if it is small, short. It gives way to him. It becomes big, big enough for Nala to enter. That was the blessing when Nala became a messenger for the gods before the Mahanharatam's Swayamvara marriage. And Keshini also reported that Nala doesn't have to fetch water. If the pots are there, and Nala simply looks at them and they fill on their own. That was the blessing from Varuna. And in order to lit the oven, Nala doesn't have to do. He simply has to show the firewood to the sun and it starts burning. Again, a blessing from Agni, the god of fire. And Damayanti heard all that, which were all Nala's gifts. And she tasted the food, which was definitely prepared by Nala. So Damayanti was sure. As the last confirmation, she sent Keshini with her children, Chitrasena and Chitraseni. I think that's the name. Anyway. And Nala was emotionally overflown. In the sense, he was tears started flowing from his eyes profusely, and he embraced the children, placed them on his lap, and stroked them, showed close emotion. And Keshini told this to Damayanti, so Damayanti was sure, and went to her mother and said that, Mother, I'm sure now this guy who came in some disguise as Nala, I want to go personally meet him and talk to him. Please take my father's permission for that. And she did. The queen accordingly went to Bhima, King Bhima, and he agreed. And Damayanti went alone to the place where Bahuka was living. And finding Damayanti in person in front of him, Nala couldn't hold his tears, and he started crying. And then Damayanti asked, not addressing Nala, but Bahuka, she asked, did you, Bahuka, ever meet someone who left his left his wife sleeping alone in a forest, who was devoted to him all along? She was sinless in all respects. Have you ever met such a person? Who other than Nala would ever do such a thing. Did I do anything wrong to him, maybe in my childhood, so that he could punish me like this? Uh, when I married him, see, I chose him over four gods, Indra, Agni, Varuna, and Vayu. They, all of them wanted to marry me, but I ignored them and chose Nala. And Nala, at the time of marriage, in front of the fire, when he caught my hand, Panigrahanam, he swore that he would protect me in all circumstances until death. What happened to that swear, that promise? And Damayanti started weeping after speaking these words, because it was with a lot of emotion she expressed these words and she couldn't hold anymore. Then Nala asked, what all I did was by the influence of Kali. It was not, my mind was not my own. And recently, when I was coming to this place, Kali couldn't, because of your curse, Kali couldn't remain in me. And on top of that, Karkotaka bit me, and that poison also started burning Kali. So he couldn't continue in my body. He came out vomiting the poison. So it was after that I regained my own mind. So it was all Kali's influence, the game of dice and you abandoning you, all that. I came here just to see you once. I didn't want anything more. And Nala asked, which woman would look for another husband while the one who looked after her all these years was still living? Your messengers have gone all over the world announcing your second marriage. Who would do that when your first husband is still alive? And Damayanti said, please don't find fault with me on this, because I did simply as a ploy, as a trick to catch you, because I made sure that you are in Rituparna's palace. I knew that. And then the distance of 1200 kilometers could be driven only by you, nobody else. And that is why an announcement was made of my marriage the next day. In fact, there was no such marriage. My people haven't announced of my second marriage anywhere else. That's why no one else has come. It was simply to attract you to this place. And what is it called? And after speaking this, but Nala was angry that he wasn't convinced. But then Damayanti said, I swear by the god of air, the sun god and the moon god. I swear, because these are the witnesses for everything. these gods are the witnesses for everything that happens in this world. Sun during the daytime, moon at night, and air always. So I swear in front of them that if I have sinned in my deed or in my words or even in my thoughts, then let them take my life away. I don't want to live anymore. When Damayanti spoke these words, there was ashariri, words in the air coming from the sky, saying, no, she is sinless. She has done nothing that is a sin in either in thought, words, or deed. So you two should unite again and live happily. And with those words, flowers were showered from heaven. That is called Pushpa Vrishti. There was a rain of flowers. And Nala was convinced. He wore the divine cloth. It was given by Karkotaka, saying that whenever you decide to have your own looks, your own form, you wear this cloth and you regain your old body. And he wore it, and then the old Nala appeared, and Damayanti was now weeping because of happiness. And with that she went and embraced Nala. Nala also embraced Damayanti. And this matter was conveyed to her mother, and she went to King Bhima and reported the matter. And the king said, I'm okay, I'm happy, I shall meet them tomorrow. Let Nala clean himself, wear good clothes, and take rest for today. Tomorrow morning I shall meet them. And next morning, the king received the reunited Nala and Damayanti, and there was celebration in the palace and also in the city. It was decorated with festoons and flags, and there was festivity. And Nala stayed for a month and went back with a small army arranged by King Bhima. He reached the land of Nishadha, his palace, and went and met Pushkara, and told Pushkara, look, I have come for another game of dice. And Pushkara said, all right, anytime, I am happy. Pushkara was still in that mood of winning. He thought he will, next game also he will win. So, and now the thing he could win was Damayanti. So he came for the dice. Nala was his old Nala with his Akshahridaya, the skill in dice. And he played and he regained whatever he had lost, the palace, the riches, everything. But Nala told Pushkara, I have no ill will to you. It was not you who, because of whom I lost, it was because of Kali. So I don't punish you. Instead, I give you enough wealth and a palace for you to live comfortably. You go and live comfortably, we shall be brothers. And Pushkara left. And Brihadashva told this story to Yudhishthira in reply to his question, Sage, have you heard anybody in the world who has suffered like me? That is why Brihadashva told this story. And in fact, the Nala's grievances was much worse than Yudhishthira's. He suffered a lot more. So he completed his story, blessed Yudhishthira that good time will come to you, and he left. With that, we finish the story of Nala and Damayanti. In Mahabharata, of course, we are still in the Vanaparva, but in the Malayalam version, one book. The first book is complete only now. In the Sanskrit, the Nalacharitam is the first story in the second book. Namaskaram.